Hello and welcome everybody to another edition of the PHNX Suns Show. I am your host, Greg Esposito. Ahoy, hoy. Joined as always by Gerald Bourget. Gerald, how are you, my man?
I'm doing all right. How about you?
I'm good. And Saul Bookman. Saul, how are you?
Much like a lot of my early dating life, a lot of anticipation with no finish at the end.
Oh, no. He did go there right off the bat.
Well, I should have said conclusion.
I'm not even touching
Finish
that.
is probably the wrong word. I apologize for that. That was very crass.
Look, we're all anticipating something that isn't here yet.
Our
So,
phone's going to go off any minute now.
oh yeah.
Oh, here we are.
Well, why not?
Right
Why wouldn't it? Total chaos all at once, right?
We've been waiting all day.
It's like back when you just waited for your friends to call you back before there was text or any of this other stuff when we were kids, and you were just sitting there waiting, staring at the phone, going, "Can the kids play yet?"
No, you know what it is? It's and Gerald, you're probably a little bit more schooled up on this than Espo and I, but it's like when you text back and forth with a woman, and then you say that one thing that you're like, eh? And then she leaves you on red. You're like,
You send that first risky text, and then the conversation just dies.
Yeah, it's like,
this is like that, but much worse.
Yeah.
Hey, by the way, we are brought to you by the one and only DraftKings Sportsbook app, America's $5 down on an NFL game, and your team wins. You're going to get $200 in free bets when you sign up using that code PHNX. So we highly recommend that. Time for the tip topic of the game. Oh, by the way, Lindsey Smith on vacation, won't be here for like 2 weeks. I think we gave her off, which nice.
A week for every Emmy she's won.
And wait, shouldn't she get 4 then for the 2 Sonnies she's won too?
That's why he said Emmy.
She'll be back in a month for every award. Big time Lindsey Smith will be back. But our tip topic of the show: is it time to panic about the Suns yet? They sit at 1-2 after 3 games. I'm going to take that as a no, Saul. I'm going to take that as no.
It's a hell no.
It's a hell no. All right. Gerald, where do you land on this?
No, I think we've heard that from all of the Suns. Like 3 or 4 of them have used the term panic button. We're not hitting the panic button. They're fine. They realize 3 games in 4 nights is a rough way to start the season, especially with a road back-to-back, all playoff teams. They're still not even in like tip-top shape yet. Monty's alluded to that. They need to improve their conditioning, so they'll be fine. It's just not the start that we kind of hoped for a team with continuity.
So a loss on Wednesday, does the hand inch closer to the panic button against the Kings?
A little bit. I think
right.
so. Like, you got Kings, you got Cavs coming up. You look at their schedule the next few weeks. It's pretty favorable, and they have this homestand that's spread out. So if they're not kind of up to speed.
The Nuggets of the Cavs are favorable.
Well, I guess that's true.
That didn't end up so well for them last night.
I'm not of the panic mindset yet either. Some are. Some are. I'm not checking tankathon.com quite yet. I'll say.
Didn't you post a screenshot?
That was the joke that other people are at that point. I am not there where I'm actually thinking about it.
It means you're thinking about it.
No, I'm really not. This team will be just fine, and I think we'll see that by the end of the week. At least on the court, this team will be just fine by the end of the week. Is my viewpoint. But one thing,
Gerald's got his phone right here.
I'm like,
something came up.
keep checking.
And I looked and I was like, oh shit. My phone vibrated.
Huh?
Huh?
Okay. ESPN sounder goes off, that Sports Center. Da-da-da, da-da-da. Yeah, you get a little nervous this time of day. So Devin Booker, part of the new release for the Corvette Z06 today. Look at this picture.
Is it Z06 or Z06?
I don't know. I'm not a car guy. I don't.
Damn,
all
that
of
thing is sweet.
It is
nice.
It is a beautiful vehicle, and the Devin Booker part of the launch. I actually got a chance to go sit in the car as part of the photo shoot and go around a track with a professional driver driving one
I
of
thought you meant
these.
like this one. I was like,
No,
what?
that is
What?
that is. He went on. He was part of the launch of
But
this.
you
Oh no,
were,
me.
like, I was like,
Yeah,
what?
no, me. Yeah,
Did it sound like that?
Me-
He was the professional driver.
me and I said Devin Booker had a. Me and Devin Booker just hung out driving the new Corvette. That's what I spend my time when I'm not in the office
How was it?
doing. Oh, it was spectacular. Just hanging out with Booker. Then the car made it even better. No, Devin Booker got a chance to ride in it. Said it's unbelievable ride. But what I find so cool is we've talked about Devin not getting a lot of national attention over the years. The trip to the finals and showing off his car collection during that playoff run actually gets him to be part of a national release for a major vehicle. I found that pretty cool, just as cool as the car that Book got to sit with.
Yeah, I mean, it's a beautiful car, obviously, and we know that Book is like a big fan of these different cars. I think in the press release that I read, his grandfather had like a 75 Corvette or something.
Yeah.
And he used to work on it with him in the garage. So that kind of sparked his love for cars. And so it's kind of cool that came full circle and he has this awesome like release with this beautiful car.
I want to know if Devin actually works on any of these cars, or are they just like, he has people that do that, because there are people that enjoy working on cars. Like it's kind of like wood shop and
Right.
And things like that. It's a hobby. And so I'm kind of curious about that. Like, does Devin work on these cars, or is he just, an athlete that has money that buys nice cars that are ready to go? I don't know.
I'm sure it's probably the latter. I mean, Devin.
But you just said that like his grandpa and him used to work on those kind of things.
Yeah, I don't see Book having a whole lot of time to hang out in the garage trying to fix his car right now.
Why? Well, you don't think he ever goes
he's
home?
kind of busy? I mean, he was
He
kind of
doesn't play
playing
basketball
until July,
for 16
going
hours
to
a day.
Japan, traveling with his girlfriend, had COVID. I don't think he's had a whole lot of time to sit there and fix up his cars.
I think you severely undervalue the amount of time that they might have to do hobbies. Like you think these dudes don't play video games at home? Like,
yeah,
if somebody can play video
Book
games,
definitely plays video
I know he
games.
plays COD. So if he has time to do that, he probably has time to go tinker around the garage. Don't you think?
I would guess he's buying these things in pretty good shape. I don't think he's going to the junkyard and going, "Hey, you guys got a '57 Buick I can spend the next 6 months putting back together? You got
First of
that?"
all, when's the last time you
not
went to
the
a
Buick.
junkyard and saw anything like that?
I don't know about rich people junkyards. I could
know
go
about any junkyard.
Yeah, I go to poor
Rich
people
people's
junkyard.
You know, the rich ones.
Yeah, the ones that are out in Beverly Hills.
Yeah, I'm sure there's car junkyards for collectors that they can go, "Hey, I'm looking for a beat up whatever."
Hello says, clearly Kylie fixes the cars. I don't know about that, but she services the engine.
Oh, no. No.
Wow. Yeah. Cue that ESPN alert.
I love it. You know what? Honestly, and this is something that I've heard. Booker is becoming more of a national figure.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder how much Kylie has to do with that.
I'm going to say very little. I think the run to the finals had a huge.
No, I'm
you
talking
mean
about from
like
a business sense, like a marketing standpoint. Like
I'm sure.
Kylie understands that side of the game, and I wonder how much influence she has on that. I'm not saying like she's the reason why he's getting the attention. I'm saying that she might be the reason why he's starting to look at things in a different way.
Oh, I'm sure. I mean, that whole family has a business sense unlike any others. I mean, that's why they're in the billions now. I'm sure that Devin's got that mindset that she's helping, make him think bigger than basketball, which he should. I mean, he has the opportunity to build something much larger than just his game and last longer. And I know Kobe was a guy that did that as well as part of what he did before he passed away, and Devin looks up to him. So I'm sure he's thinking in that mindset, and Kylie's had an influence on
I mean,
that.
Tom Brady and Gisele Bündchen, we were talking about this earlier today. Gisele's net worth is like over $400 million, and Tom Brady's is just north of 270. We might be looking at the basketball version of those two.
A power couple. I mean, certainly.
Yeah. And when you're a trendsetter like Book, like you want to build your own brand. And I feel like he is becoming his own kind of national brand. It probably doesn't hurt to have the connects that like Kylie and that whole family has too. So it's just all good for boosting his profile.
What are we gonna call those two?
Kylie and Devin.
No, like you gotta have a name. Booker?
No.
We're gonna have to think on it.
Can we cut the man behind the Mac, Shane Diefenbach's mic off for the rest of the show after that one? Good. So nobody would have heard that if we didn't repeat it. Good to know. I don't know. We can figure out a Kylie Booker nickname later on.
Can't call her Kyler.
You could.
You can't call him Kyler.
Two Kylers in the town, like big time players. Now, look, I found the thing I found most interesting about him as part of this Corvette thing. He did an interview with GQ talking about it, and they asked him, "Oh, you're going to have one of these Corvettes?" And he said, "Well, I'm hoping to." How is that? You got bad negotiators if that's not part of your deal to be part of this launch.
Right.
They should have had the purple and orange one in his driveway today, saying, "Hey, thanks for helping us." Right?
That would have been nice. That would have been the considerate thing to do, I feel like.
So in a less, well, I don't know that I don't know if it's less entertaining, but a name that frustrates us a little more that we'll move on to.
Really, somebody wants us to move on to some better topics.
Well, we will move on to one.
Yes.
A fan favorite, not so much. Robert Horry was is part of the Lakers pre and post game show on Sportsnet in LA, and he was part of a pre-show bet that happened between their producer Brian Bergen, who apparently is a Suns fan, and they made a bet before the Suns-Lakers game that the Lakers were going to win. And obviously Horry said the Lakers were going to win. His producer said they weren't. So as part of that bet, their producer Brian got to do this as the payoff. I believe we have. Okay, we don't have the clip. So so what happened was they made the bet, and Brian got the opportunity to throw a towel in Robert Horry's face. That was the bet, that if the Suns won, Brian got to throw a towel in Robert Horry's face. And I found this to be very cathartic when I watched it, even though when you watch the clip, Robert Horry comes off as a bigger dick than you ever thought he was before, just because of the way he
wishes
talks.
he had a brick in that towel when he threw it at Danny Ainge. Which is just such an asshole.
Like, even in an opportunity where he could have had some fun, showing up his personality, he was still a giant dick about it. And it was amazing to be that. I thought, oh, okay, Robert Horry's having some fun. Maybe it'll make him a little bit more likable. Nope. Screw Robert Horry is still the headline of this that
forever and always.
Watch. We'll tweet out on the PHNX _ Suns account the video of it so you guys can weigh in since we don't have it here. But that Robert Horry's a dick. That's again.
Final takeaway: Robert Horry's a dick. That was probably doubly cathartic for you then, because you got to see someone throw a towel in Robert Horry's face. And then you also got to continue hating Robert Horry, which I know fuels you on a daily basis. So,
how did you know I wake up and I pray at the altar of hating Robert Horry? That is what fuels me every day, day in, day out. And you're right. There was something nice about knowing that Robert Horry is still a bigger dick than we ever imagined. So that was very nice. Thank you, Gerald.
Yeah, you're welcome.
That makes me feel better. In things that don't make me feel better, and this is the first bit of real Suns news we'll get into today at media availability on Tuesday. Today is Tuesday, right? This already feels like the longest week ever, and it's only Tuesday.
It's Tuesday.
At media availability today on Tuesday, Coach Monty Williams confirmed that campaign will be out for at least a week. Correct, Gerald?
Yeah, the Suns told us that he's going to be reevaluated in 1 week with that right hamstring strain. So at least a week that he'll be out, and then he'll be checked on again, which means the Suns will be relying on Elfrid Payton a little bit more in the interim, which is great because that's what they got him for. You want your third string backup to be someone with experience, and they have someone that started on a playoff team last year. So that's comforting, at least, even if they're going to be without campaign for at least a week.
Yeah, I think this is a lesson to campaign as well. It's unnecessary to push yourself here in the early going of the season because there's no reason to. It's game 3 of the season. Like, they need him healthy. If he felt something and felt like he needed to play through it, that's a little careless in my estimation. Like, he probably could have done a better job. But, again, like, ballers are ballers. Sometimes they just think it's going to be okay and they just continue to push it. And now instead of maybe he being out for a couple days or maybe a week, he's going to be going on 2 weeks by the time they reevaluate him and potentially come back. So hopefully, he learns that lesson, and next time he feels something that just ain't right, he takes himself out and doesn't cost the team a couple more games than was needed.
Cam doesn't seem like a guy that has that gear, though. He seems like a guy that plays in one gear, and it's all out all the time.
For sure.
And I don't know that even this will change that mindset, because that was the attitude that got him back in the NBA, that got him this $19 million contract that he winds up with. I don't know that ever changes with Cam and in his approach to the game.
Right. And Monty was even saying that at practice today. He was saying, like, he knows that he's out a week, but he's already like really like antsy to play again and to like test it out and stuff. So they're having to like make sure that he's taking the proper steps and whatnot.
You're going to see him playing at the park just so we can get a run in. Like, no, bro, no.
Yeah, he is just one of those guys. He has one speed. He wants to play. Like, he loves playing for this particular team too. Like, he's talked all about how much he loves being here in the Valley and how much it means to him to have those fans behind him. And so he's probably bummed he's going to be missing most of this homestand.
For sure.
He's going to come in the Uncle Drew costume and try to convince them, I'm a different guy. I can come in and run, right? What, from a basketball perspective on the floor, how much does it hurt them not to have Campaign's offense in that second unit? And because Elfrid Payton is more of a defensive-minded guard, so how does it hurt him? Who do you think is going to pick up that slack on the offensive end?
Well, it's going to be Elfrid Payton is going to pick up the slack directionally, right? A one-for-one swap. I think Landry Shamet will have a little bit to say about that as well. And so it's going to be kind of like by committee, but mostly Shamet and Elfrid Payton will come in to help supplement those Campaign minutes. But nobody can do what Campaign does. Outside of maybe Chris Paul, he's got that burst, he's got that quickness, and he's one of he reminds me a little bit of Manu Ginobili in terms of the way he releases the ball at the rim and somehow gets those balls to fall in. So it's nice to see that. In addition to that, he has become a threat on the offensive side. Teams do have to account for him because he does like to drive, and he creates opportunities for everybody else. That's something that Elfrid Payton doesn't necessarily do. So between Elfrid and Shamet, you're looking for a nice little mix to kind of make up that gap.
Yeah, I think Campaign is a lot more of a driver, downhill type of guy who puts pressure on the rim. He doesn't always finish at an elite level because he's a smaller guy. And like you said, some of the shots he has to put up are insane, the amount of English he's got to put on those. But Elfrid Payton's a guy who can, he can get downhill. He can get to the rim. He's not a great finisher either. The problem is he's not much of a shooter. So for him, when he drives, it's more about drive and kick or looking to set up teammates in the pick and roll, which, he did. Monty said he did moderately well in that Portland game, despite how bad that Portland game was. Yeah. He had 14 points and 6 assists in his 25 minutes, shot 6 for 11. So, that's pretty much all you can ask for out of your third string point guard who's coming in to fill in for your backup. If they get that kind of production or anything even close to that from him, that'll be fine. I think we just weren't really noticing because that game was over by halftime.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I feel like that will be the case, is that you're going to see Shamet and Elfrid step in there. I think another guy that you'll see pick up some of that offensive weight on that second unit is Cam Johnson as well. I think we haven't seen that big Cam Johnson offensive explosion off the bench, but we do have Monty Williams, who talked about Elfrid Payton having to step into that backup point guard role from today's practice as well.
Yeah, I think he's just going to get more comfortable with the group. Coming off of a back-to-back and realizing the next day you're going to play heavy minutes, it can throw your rhythm off. And I thought he played solid based on what happened in that game. But I think he's going to get more comfortable with that group and the way we stagger the rotations, being able to play with Landry, with Cam Johnson, and then transferring that and playing with Book, DA, that's forces you to kind of see the game a little bit differently. But Elford's been in a number of programs, so I don't think it's going to be a problem for him.
I love Monty. Alfred's been in a number of programs. That's such a nice way of saying Alfred's been a journeyman for his career. He should be fine. He understands how to play with different groups.
Yeah. I love that he calls basketball teams programs too. He's got that like old school, like college or high school approach to this.
It's very much a high school, college thing for sure. Every time he says program, I'm like, these dudes have to sign up for the program or what? This ain't the YMCA.
But look, I think it's the right mentality because it's why those guys last year bought into the whole I'll give up a little bit of my own for the greater good, because they did treat it like very much like a high school or college group would look at it as this is all about sacrificing to get to a greater goal. And you don't see that a lot in professional sports. The good cultures have that, and so I like Monty's approach by being a program.
And it's especially helpful here because they're basically trying to convince a guy who started on a playoff team last year to accept a third string role where he's not going to play much when Campaign is healthy. I think this Campaign injury, obviously it sucks. We don't want anybody to be injured, but it could in the long term be a blessing in disguise if it keeps Peyton engaged from the start and kind of gives him some run in the early going to get his legs with a new team.
Certainly, and that's key because you never know at what point you're going to need Elfrid Payton. If Cam goes down again, or God forbid CP3 has something that prohibits him from playing, you're going to need Elfrid Payton. So early season minutes isn't the worst thing that could have happened, and luckily it does not appear to be an extremely serious thing for Campaign either. So what is serious though, gentlemen, is betting on the DraftKings Sportsbook app. And if you are serious about getting the best in your sports betting, I highly recommend downloading that app and tapping it and using that code PHNX. If you bet $5 on any NFL game, if your team wins, you're going to get $200 in free bets if you sign up using the code. And I have had so much fun. The same game parlays have been probably my favorite thing because you can stack up all these bets and get these odds at like plus 2,500, and you're putting 25 down and make. I'm not hitting on these things very often.
Damn, what the hell? What parlays are you playing?
Look,
I don't see anything plus 2,500 at all.
If you put it together right, you're betting
on
like
10 bets on it. Yeah, I guess so.
You can get up there. Look, I'm of the belief if I'm gonna go in on a same game parlay, I'm gonna make it really fun and entertaining. If I'm gonna put $25 down, I want some big return. And the best thing with the DraftKings Sportsbook app is it's super easy to make the same game parlays. Then it's even easier to get my money out if I do hit on one of them. That sweet cash is in my bank account in no time. So as I always say, I can take the misses out, or I can spend a little extra on NBA
I want to know.
Shot or something.
We need to get your wife on this show because I want to know how many times you have taken the misses out according to your DraftKings. Because I feel like
when I win,
every time you win, you take the misses out, and I'm like, number one, how much are you winning? Number two, how much are you winning? And where are you taking the misses?
Would you like me to answer all these questions for you right now?
Sure.
I don't win, so we don't go anywhere. But the theory is if I win some sweet
the
cash,
just stays home.
She does. We go every once in a while. We win. We go to a fast food restaurant because I don't put that much money down.
Oh my gosh.
It's nice. We had a 4-year-old at home. We're just
good news,
we take
honey.
her
We're
where
going
she
to
wants
Applebee's
tonight.
Guess what, baby? I'm taking you IKEA cafeteria, baby.
How do you like Costco
Swedish
pizza?
meatballs.
The sweetest meatballs, baby. Hey, don't sleep on the sweetest meatballs.
There ain't nothing to sleep on with those.
I love those.
They're good and they're cheap. And I'm not a good bettor. I take the Deefin lock each week on our bet show, and it's difficult.
Gotta throw Shane under the bus.
Damn, I know, man.
The Deefin lock is 4 for 6 or 5 for 6. So.
Oh,
That's
then
pretty
I've been taking the other advice. That's sorry. But look, if you're good at gambling and you want to take the misses out, I recommend going to the DraftKings Sportsbook app, putting $5 down on any NFL team, and getting 200 in free bets if you use the code PHNX.
I remember back in the day.
up.
When Gambo used to his ex-wife used to call into the radio show, And it was just used to be like,
no.
what's going to come out? And sometimes she would legit chew him out on radio.
Are we going to have a segment with Mrs. Espo?
Oh my gosh. I think we need to.
She just keeps hearing at home how
Yeah.
you're going to take her out. She's just sitting there
Yeah.
fuming like,
If
is this
I
guy going to
win,
hit on a
This
bet?
guy
I need-
never, ever hits. And I just don't understand why I'm always sitting here making mac and cheese.
I need some good gambling advice on these same game parlays. Maybe I should just stop betting the 10-leg same game parlays. Maybe that's the problem. Maybe I should just put the training wheels on and do
There
a
you go.
2-leg parlay.
Oh, I
How
want
about that?
2,500 odds. Like, what? No. That's ridiculous.
Aiming too high. Icarus over here trying to
I
take the
failed
misses
on a
to
3-team
Mastros.
parlay. I was like, Jesus.
Look, I want to take the missus out somewhere nice, so I go big, and I want it going home an awful lot. But if you're ready to bet on DraftKings, we highly recommend you use the code PHNX. Bet that $5, get $200 in free bets. But we got to remind you, it's 21 only, Arizona only. Gambling problem? Called 1-800-NEXT-STEP. New customers only. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. But if you want to make a bet that always hits,
I don't know. Are we sure?
always hits,
Oh, boy.
go PHNX.com, sign up, become a member, and read Gerald's fantastic Suns articles every day. You never lose there. There's no losing when you read Gerald.
I appreciate that. That's nice of you.
And there's no joke there either. Dead serious. Highly recommend you head over there, become a member, join the Discord channel as well. Always in there chatting about whatever the day's news is in sports, not just Suns. We cover Coyotes, Cardinals, D-backs, ASU, U of A, the Cardinals, everybody and anything. We'll talk about it in there as well as on the site. It's the best place you can go, and you get great merch. If you sign up for an annual membership, you get a free t-shirt at the PHNX locker, and we are dropping some fire designs, and we will have another new Suns one coming up soon. So do that. Hit the like and subscribe button as well while you're watching on YouTube, or leave a 5-star review on iTunes. We appreciate it all. I think that is all the business we have to do right now. Let's hop back in to our topics for today, and our big topic of the show. We talked about this kind of during that Portland game after Devin Booker surpassed Dan Marley and made 3-pointers on the Suns list to move into second all time. And I kind of half-heartedly threw it out, but I want to talk about it here. Is Devin Booker a top 5 Phoenix Sun of all time now? Is he in a place with the trip to the finals, obviously moving up on a lot of lists all-time franchise-wise? Is Devin Booker a top 5 Phoenix Sun?
If he's not, he's close. I will say that. Somebody tried to say that they think he's number 1 already, and I'm like, that's not even close.
No.
I think if you're going to make an argument, there's Walter Davis, there's Stat, there's Marion, there's Nash, there's Barkley. You might even want to throw in like an Alvin Adams if you really want to, or even a Kevin Johnson if you really want to. But I think he's within that 3 to 7 tier right now. In terms of what he's accomplished early on in his career, yeah, absolutely top 5. I think right now, if we were to speak about it right now, I think he's 6. I don't think he's top 5 quite yet, but it's by the thinnest of margins.
Gerald?
Yeah, it's a tough question to answer because he's only 20, he's about to turn 25, so we're projecting a little bit, but I think we'd be foolish not to project and see like, yeah, he's going to make a couple more all-star teams in his career. He's hopefully going to start making some all-NBA teams in his career. I might put him at number 5. I would put obviously Nash, Barkley, Amari, and Matrix ahead of him. But I think you could make a case for him ahead of definitely Alvin Adams. Walter Davis is a little bit tougher because he's, the all-time leading scorer for the Suns. He's all over their leaderboards as far as their, career all-time leaders. I'd put him at 5 or 6. And I honestly would listen to both cases for either one of those two guys.
Well, gentlemen, it is time for everybody's favorite segment on the show. I think you all forgot about it. You've been sleeping on it, but it's time for Espo's Big.
All right.
Man, we just cut off the music.
Just cut off the music and just, whatever. First of all, how's it everybody's favorite thing if we've only seen it one time?
Because it was that damn good on the show
He
that
misspelled
nobody
Espo.
forgets it.
It's everybody's favorite segment. He
I'm
misspelled
everybody.
Espo.
I'm everybody. It is my favorite segment. I've got my top 10 Suns of all time that I'll give you here. We'll start at number 10. It's Thunder Dan Marley. Number 9.
Oh, you didn't have graphics for
No,
these?
we didn't, because we put this show together in about 5.5 minutes because we were expecting something else to happen today.
We had alternate plans.
We did have alternate plans. So
Just
number 9,
so disappointed right now.
Kevin Johnson. Number 8.
Number 9 is KJ?
Yes.
Oh
number
my
9.
goodness.
Kevin Johnson's injuries did nothing but piss me off. I'm not putting him higher than 9. He's a top 10 Sun, but he's 9 there because his injuries cost the Suns championships. That's where I stand. You can at me. I don't care. At Espo, just complain about it all you want. But KJ's number 9 for me. Connie Hawkins at number 8. Amari at number 7.
Amari at 7?
Devin Booker at 6. Alvin Adams at 5. Sean Marion at 4. Walter Davis 3. Charles Barkley 2. Steve Nash number 1.
Why Alvin Adams?
Why so high?
Explain why Alvin Adams is so high.
One of the most underappreciated Suns of all time.
Why?
The best center they ever had, best big man they had until Amari. I'm gonna say, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar said he was the best big man he had to face in the Western Conference throughout his career. This guy is underappreciated. He was a huge reason they make their first finals run. He was an all-around good guy on this franchise in a time where they had one of the worst scandals in history, and he was a stalwart and one of the best players. Alvin Adams gets underappreciated and then stays with the franchise and helped get them the arena downtown, helped run that arena, now helped renovate that arena. Alvin Adams is underlooked and slept on in this franchise's history, and he's in the top 10 of numerous categories that all time for this franchise. He's an undervalued Phoenix Sun.
So to back up what you're saying, he's number 1 in games played by about 200, number 1 in total rebounds, number 2 in total points. Definitely longevity is on his side.
Very much so.
My main gripe was that he kind of peaked his very first year, like statistically. Like that was the year they went to the finals. And then after that, his game, I mean, he was still very good the next couple of seasons, but after that, it just kind of tailed off. It seems like longevity's on his side.
Not only that, but you had me until you said until stat. And I'm like, well, that means stat is better. That's how I feel about it. Amari Stoudemire, a far greater impact than I believe Alvin Adams was, because without Stoudemire, you don't even get to the Western Conference Finals because all you have is Steve Nash, and Steve needed Amari, and Amari needed Steve. I think those two worked hand in hand.
How many finals did Amari Stoudemire make?
None.
We can't do that, 'cause then Nash is...
Okay, well then how many All-Star games did Alvin Adams make?
I think 1.
Yeah. So like we can go back and forth on that. Plus,
Great.
you absolutely disrespected Kevin Johnson. I can't believe my man Jews Beans. I guess
Your man, huh?
that is his name.
Oh,
he says Kevin Johnson played a full game plus triple overtime. Actually, he played every single minute in that triple overtime game. And that season, he was healthy. He wasn't
healthy.
He was fine in the finals.
He was hurt in the playoffs.
Was he fine in the finals?
No, he actually wasn't. His back
played
was still
63
bothering.
minutes and led them to victory.
He went out there and helped them for sure. He went out there and played hurt, but his injuries throughout that time cost that team multiple shots at going back to the finals. There's plenty of things. Kevin Johnson's like a very problematic person in Suns history.
That's like saying that Steve Nash cost his team because he broke his nose. That's ridiculous.
Kevin Johnson is a very problematic person in Suns history.
Why?
Do you not
we're going that route.
You can go that route too.
I'm talking about just basketball.
I still think the injuries that cost this team over the years. He was selfless in a lot of ways when it came to trying to play hurt, coming back after he retired to try to help the Suns when I believe it was Jason Kidd got injured. But I can't put him in my higher than 9 on my list. Oh my gosh. There's things.
I mean, you're not going to get an argument for me about arguing against KJ given all the off the court stuff. But one quick thing about Alvin Adams, just going back real quick, because the peaking in the first season was worse than I thought. He was an all-star, the rookie of the year, and all-rookie first team in his first season when they went to the finals. And then after that, nothing. There was no all-star, no all-NBA, no.
But he played all those
nothing.
games. I
You
think
can,
slept on.
you can disrespect Alvin Adams all you
I'm not
want.
disrespecting
Saul.
him. I just don't think he's a top 5 player.
That's fine. That's your prerogative. This is called Espo's big board, not Saul's opinion.
I
So
think it's Espo's shitboard is what it
hey,
is.
you can call it whatever you want. Alvin Adams is a top 5 Phoenix Sun to me, and you can suck it otherwise.
You love the underdog. That's why.
Alvin Adams is
sucker for an
underrated.
underdog. You know this is true.
He's a very nice man. I'll say that.
He's a fantastic man.
What a great guy.
Doesn't mean he's a top
Ring of
5
Honor
player.
member. Amari's not a Ring of Honor member.
Oh my god.
We don't even need to go back to that.
Oh
we
my
don't even need
gosh.
to get into that right now.
Look, for me, Amari took a lot of the shine.
That mic is
because-
trying to get away with you. Get away from you.
Yes,
That's why it
yes,
keeps going
yes.
higher and higher because it knows you're full of shit.
Shut up. Hey, look, to me, Amari took a lot of the shine in those 7 seconds or less years because he had highlight dunks. But Sean Marion was the glue that kept the franchise together for over a decade. Made playoff runs with
You don't have
Marion
to, you don't
and
have to
Kate.
explain
or
it.
with
You
Marbury and
said
KJ.
this all in Purple's People Court.
I know, but
Purple People's Court.
I'm just saying.
Purple's
Yeah, Purple People's Court.
Purple
I
People's
believe
Court.
that's what we'll have to do another one of those because we have plenty of things that we can debate, obviously, that
Oh my
need
God. Apparently
that full
KJ
attention.
is one of them.
I don't think you want to go there. Look, can you argue with the top 4 though? Nash, Barkley, Walter Davis, Sean Marion.
No,
I get Alvin as a controversial.
I honestly, I would move Marion to maybe. I don't know. I might move Marion to 3 and Walter Davis, just bearing in mind eras. Like, I know Walter Davis is their leading scorer all time. He's all over their top 10 list. So he should probably be top 5, top 6. But
be
just
fair-
the difference in eras throws me a little bit.
To be fair, he was problematic too. He was part of the cocaine scandal, so he probably
Again, like
problematic.
Listen, I think it just as a general rule of thumb for this particular topic, right? I think it would be wise of us to just not like we're not talking about them as human beings and how great they were as people because some of these guys are downright awful. So let's just keep it to basketball, and in a basketball sense, what they accomplished on the court, how would we rack and stack these guys? Because if we go the ethics route, we can get rid of half the list.
and Gerard Mustaf too, but that's a throwback for old school fans.
Why is
look,
Why?
Look, Booker. Do you guys feel Booker is in the conversation now,
Yes.
but just kind of right outside that top 5 in general? I feel like another season or two, he's a lock for top 5 in Suns history, but I feel like I need maybe another All-Star, maybe another playoff run, and him moving up a couple notches in that scoring.
Well, first of all, like especially if you're talking about like the top 5, these were like all NBA performers in some regard, like all defensive or all NBA MVPs, and they accomplished a lot. At one point or another, these guys that were in the top 5 were the focal point of their team. Devin Booker has been the focal point on some really bad Suns teams, but it took for Chris Paul to come in and be another focal point for it to help out and get them to the NBA Finals. So I think Booker still got a lot left in the tank, obviously. He needs to make an all-star game outright. Like, that just has to happen. He has to do that, and he has to make one of the all-NBA teams. We were talking about, like at some point, like Booker's going to approach the conversation as one of the best Suns of all time, or the best Sun of all time, right? With Nash and Barkley. For him to ever overcome those two, at some point during his career, you have to look at Devin Booker and say he's the best at his position right now in the NBA. Like, at some point. I don't care if it's for half a season, a full season, whatever. Because with Steve Nash, you could say he was the best point guard in the NBA. With Charles Barkley, you could say he was the best power forward in the NBA at that time when he was the Sun, for that 1 year at least. You have to say that with Devin Booker. Right now, that's not going to happen because you have too many guards out there that are really, really good, like Steph Curry and Damian Lillard. So,
But he's, in terms of shooting guard, though, he's pretty close.
well, do you
Like, I would
consider
say-
Steph a shooting guard or not?
No, I consider him a point guard.
Do you?
Yeah, I'd say
I
he's a
don't,
point
because
guard.
he hardly half the time he even brings up the ball.
The thing for me with Nash and Barkley, I think you could look at, those MVP years, and in those years say you could arguably stack those up that at their position, those may have been top 5 seasons for anybody at those positions. I mean, the things that Nash did, the way he orchestrated that offense, Barkley was unbelievable. His MVP season, to surpass those, I think you're going to need more deep playoff runs. But then to Saul's point, you're going to need that definitive season where you look at it and you go, Devin Booker was arguably the best player in the game, and it's one of those seasons you would stack up against almost anybody that's played his
Also,
position.
back to your point, I think in today's era, it's more just guards. It's not really shooting or point guard because, to your point, Steph Curry plays both, right? Like, easily plays both. So you can't really define what he is or what he does because Steph Curry is a shooter. So him coming off those ball screens is more effective than him actually running plays for others to get open, right? So that's why I would associate him more with a shooting guard than a point guard.
And it is mostly like guards, forwards, and bigs. That's basically
exactly what it is. Yeah,
I agree with you guys. I think that definitive season is coming, and it needs to come, especially now that he's on a team that puts him in position to have success for the first time in his career, but also just the accolades as far as all-star appearances, all-NBA, because we're talking about, Book led or helped lead this team to its only 3rd finals appearance. But like Walter Davis had 6 all-star appearances and was on the 2nd team All-NBA twice. Amari Stoudemire, 6 all-stars, 1 first-team All-NBA, 4 second-team All-NBA. Even Sean Marion had like 4 all-stars and like 2 third-team All-NBAs. Book doesn't have an All-NBA. Team. Yeah. Well, wait, did he ever make all-defensive team after all? I don't think he did. Yeah, I thought the thing with him was that he never made one because.
Regardless, when I look at that though with Devin,
I never made one.
Devin has the opportunity to have a part of what each of these guys on this list had: longevity that Alvin Adams had, scoring that Walter Davis had, finals run that Barkley had, potentially. MVP in a conversation at some point. Some people argue Tom Chambers deserves to be in the top 10. Booker has more scoring game, a higher scoring game than Tom Chambers. Like, there are all these things that make these other guys on the list great. Devin Booker could have something similar in his resume where you could look at each of those and go, well, he beats him because of this, he beats him because of that. All he needs is those a few top seasons in the league, and I think he'll wind up as number 1 or number 2 on this. Nash is tough to pass.
Right, because he has the 2 MVPs, and he's just all over the leaderboard. He literally changed the game of basketball itself with those teams. That's tough to pass, but someone's saying the all-star appearances are tough because it's a popularity contest. Also because, like, there's so much star caliber talent in the league right now. I think it's more crammed with all-star caliber talent than it's ever been, arguably. So that makes it tough too. That's why you got to go for those all-NBA spots, because those are more meticulously voted on than all-star is.
That's what's going to make him the more money too.
Yes,
those things as
you
well.
You would think, but there's some dumbass voters out there.
Well, that's true.
As we saw with Coach of the Year last year, I'm still bitter about that one.
Can't believe that one still.
Look, I think when it's all said and done, Book is number 2. Cool. Nash is one of the greatest of all time at his position, so it makes it tough.
I hate to vacate, but I got to go. Sorry.
It's not what you think. I'll tell you that much. You want to slide over one seat so we don't have this giant gap here with us? Anyways, we can finish up this discussion, though. I'll make it very clear. Saul is 100% wrong about my big board, and again, he can suck it, and now he can't defend it.
After the man
I said
has
it
vacated
to him,
the
but
premise.
I had to recap that.
Okay.
We'd love to hear what your top 5 Suns of all time are, though. Tweet us at PHNX_Suns and tell us what your list is, or hit us up in the Discord or in the chat here on YouTube as well. We appreciate you watching. Always want you a part of it. Gerald, there's a lot of top 5, top 10 lists out there.
Mm-hmm.
But when it comes to male grooming, the thing that is number 1 on my list, Manscaped.
Oh, God.
You know that. If you want to save 20% off and not accidentally take 20% off of down there. Use the safe, secure razor, the lawnmower 4.0. This thing is the Cadillac, the Corvette, if we want to bring back something from earlier today, of male grooming product. It's sleek, it's nice, it's sensitive too. It just as in it ain't gonna hurt you when you're down there. You're not going with a weed whacker down there. You're going with something that's precision, right? And that's important when you're taking care of the boys. So head over to manscaped.com. Use the code PHNX at checkout. Save 20%. Get free shipping. Your balls will thank you. That is what they tell me in their slogan. I've never had my balls speak to me. If you do, you may need to call somebody. But I guess they'll thank you if you use Manscaped. So use that code PHNX. Save that 20% and get free shipping. And then, as always, our friends at DraftKings, use the code PHNX this week when you sign up for the #1 sportsbook app in America, and you are going to get $200 in free bets if you bet $5 on an NFL game and your team wins. It is that simple, and you can bet any team. If you're crazy, you can bet the Jets to win, and if they do, you're getting $200 in free bets. I don't recommend it, but you can do it. That's the beauty of it with gambling legal here in Arizona now. So head over, download the DraftKings app, use that code PHNX when you sign up. Take care and take advantage of that special offer. Gerald, before we get out of here today, coming up tomorrow, Wednesday, Suns take on the Kings. What to you do they have to do to get this thing back on track?
They just have to play their defense and communicate better. It's one of the things we've heard from Monty and all of the players is that their communication hasn't been up to par. And part of that is their conditioning hasn't been up to par. Monty said, when you're tired, when you're winded, it's harder to do what you're supposed to do, let alone talk to other people and communicate out there. So I think they just need to start building that communication and that trust back up again, get to where the defense is on a string, because the Suns have always been a great scrambling defense, and the Kings like to play at a fast pace. So having those guys that can recover for you, having everyone on a string and on the same page like they were last year, that's going to be important against a team like Sacramento.
Yeah, certainly. I agree with you on the defensive end. I also think ball movement offensively, it's felt like the ball stuck a little bit, and it's going to take Devin Booker, obviously, and Chris Paul getting into their offensive groove. We haven't seen that yet either, and that could very much be a byproduct of a short offseason and then 3 games in 4 nights. I think scheduling did no favors for the Suns in this first part of the season.
No, absolutely not, especially with, one of their star players having COVID in training camp, playing 1 preseason game, and half the team still not being in game shape yet. So hopefully we'll see a little bit better. They've had some time off to practice, to get their conditioning up, and they'll have more time after this Kings game before they play on Saturday again. So
Saul and I will be back tomorrow, 6:30 p.m. for our pregame show. Gerald will join us live from the arena. If Saul has to take a phone call, you can hang out with me for 30 minutes. That's just the way it's going to work. And then we will be live immediately following the Suns versus Kings game. Saul and I back with analysis. Gerald live from the arena telling you everything you need to know about what happened at the Footprint Center. So for Gerald, you can find him on Twitter at Gerald Bourget. For Saul Bookman, you can find him on Twitter at Saul_Bookman. The underscore is there because something's got to hold his cell phone, because apparently it's more important than us sometimes. And you can follow me at Espo the Show at PHNX_Suns. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Ahoy, hoy.